Okay, well, welcome everybody. How are y'all doing? Let's go around and introduce ourselves if you could please, because I kind of know a lot of you by looking at you, but I don't know your names. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe what year in the program you are, so I kind of just get to know you a little bit better. And Stephanie will introduce herself as well. She's our disability director, so actually she'll explain that title more in a minute. So that's not quite correct. Let's start.
I'm sorry, just so you know, all of these are 18.
Okay. Oh, so you're all at the end of your program. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you just tell me your name then?
My name is Betty, and I'll be joining you to help out during the training.
Next.
My name is Chandras. This is my last semester on art teaching. I hope we really well with this course.
Okay. Great, thank you. Okay. Okay. Everybody, I think, is in the same boat. So. Okay. And
My name is Gandhi, and I am working in the community department with my office of Gibson, and I just joined this training event and get to know all
so, guys, okay, or whoever. Go ahead. Throw that last one in there. Make sure, does any hear that okay? Please.
Name down on the code on and then
Great.
I am Stephanie Adams. I am the Director of Student Accessibility and Support Services. It used to be called Disability Services, but we had a name change. So I'm just here to support Rob and then any questions you might have that I can help with.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. So here's the agenda, what we're going to do today. This is going to be very active, so I'm glad you have laptops. Do you have a laptop by any chance? Or? Okay, can you, maybe I can have you work with her. How does that sound? You go get one? Awesome, fantastic. Because this is going to be very hands-on today, so you're going to get a chance to do so. You're not going to sit there, so don't think like you're just going to sit there for the next couple of hours. We're going to have you actually doing some work. So, why is disability or accessibility important for learning design? Anybody want to tell me why it's important? You guys better know. You too. Anybody want to say why this is so important? Right. Pick up as loud as you can so everybody can kind of hear you too while we're talking. So anybody have a guess as to how many people are across the country fall into the what we call the spectrum? You've never heard that word, that's okay. Fall into the spectrum of having a disability. Now that can be any sort of disability. That could be blindness, it could be motor, which means that they have problems walking or using their hands. It could be mental is a disability as well. Anybody have a guess as to about how many people?
30%.
About 30. That's really pretty close, actually. Stephanie, do you have any updated statistics on that? My data says around 30%,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. So 33% of the learners that you are going to interact with as designers, once you get out and get your jobs, are going to probably have some form of a disability. That's a lot of people. That's almost 1 in 3 are going to have some sort of a disability. Now, it's not just people that are blind. People think, well, I don't ever see any blind people. So there's not that many disabled people around campus, but actually, do you know what the #1 disability is? Anybody want to guess? The #1, more people have this disability than any other disability. It's not hearing, that's a good guess. It's not color, although that's a good guess as well. Color blindness is very prevalent, particularly among the male population. It strikes the male chromosome more than it does the female, but it's not that, but that's still a good guess. Anybody else want to reckon a guess? I'm sorry, again. Anxiety is close. And you're in the same ballpark. So what do you think? Anybody? It's actually, it kind of is a pretty collective term. It's in the spectrum of the mental area. So any sort of cognitive disabilities, when we say cognitive, you should know that from your grad studies. So those are people that have all sorts of, it could be anxiety. It could be anything that is, that a person has some sort of an issue or an anxiety or some problem with their mental capacity. That's the #1 disability that we see. Now, can you see that? Can you tell if I was to look around the room, could I tell if you had a mental disability? No, you can't tell that. There's nothing that tells me that you have a mental disability. So that's what we call an invisible disability, because a person may have that problem, but you don't know it. Another invisible disability is color blindness, like Dongfeng was saying. If I look around, can I tell who has color blindness? No, I can't tell that. So most disabilities, you can't tell whether the person has a disability or not. They are completely invisible to you and I. It's only the people that have a hearing aid that you can tell, or maybe have a cane or a dog or a wheelchair. You can tell those people, right? But that group of people makes up a proportionally much smaller group than some of the other folks. Most students who come to Stephanie's office come to her office with a mental disability, not a physical disability. Okay, so that's the audience you're going to be dealing with. Now, another one that kind of falls into that area is what's called dyslexia. That kind of falls into sort of the mental, because it's cognitive. Do you know what dyslexia is? Do you know what that means? Never heard of that? So dyslexia is a reading disorder. It's a person who can't, they look at the words on a page or a screen and they become all jumbled. And there's actually a website that you can actually go to which gives you a sense of what a dyslexic person sees. It's hard to envision, but the words all just become kind of scrambled. And so they can't formulate a sentence or a series of words by looking at it like you and I can. That's called dyslexia. Sometimes they read things backwards too. That's another form of dyslexia as well. Again, it's an invisible disability. You can't tell that. So the point of all of that is just to tell you that as you as learning designers go out and get your jobs, and you're going to be graduating fairly soon, and you're working with faculty as part of your capstone, it's going to be really important. It's going to be incumbent upon you to understand how to design instruction for those populations. It's a significant number of people. You can't design learning instruction, web pages, those types of things, without being considerate of the disabled population. It's very, very important. In fact, it's legal. There are laws in the United States and also international laws which say that you have to do this. So if you happen to get a job in Japan, Japan has its own set of laws. Canada has its own set of laws. The European Union has its own set of laws. I'm not sure about the Middle East countries. Australia has its own set of laws. So it's very important if you end up in a job someplace. I'm not sure about Asia and the Pacific Rim either, but I think in some countries you do. It's very important that you learn to design for those populations, because you're going to become much more attractive to an employer if you know how to design instruction for that population. In fact, if you look on current job postings in the Chronicle of Higher Education and other places where they look for learning designers, instructional designers, one of the qualifications they look for is somebody that knows how to design for accessibility. It's that important. I can't stress it enough. This is critical. This is a critical skill. Not an option. It's not something you go, oh, I'll never look at that. I'm just going to forget about all that. No, no. You have to know how to do it. It's absolutely important. It's as important as all of those theories and all those things you learn in the program, if not more important. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to break the day up into 4 sections. The first thing we're going to talk about is captioning. And that's going to be, we're going to show you some options for how you caption. Then we're going to talk about some of the products you're likely to encounter with your faculty. So we're going to talk about Microsoft Word and how you make Word accessible. We're going to talk about PowerPoint and how you make PowerPoint accessible. And we're going to talk about Adobe Acrobat. Those 3 products, Word, Acrobat, and PowerPoint, are probably the most common applications that your faculty are going to be using. They'll use other things too, but by far, those are going to be the most popular. Okay, that's why we're going to focus on those. The other thing is video, and that's why we're going to cover captioning, because video is extremely important, and a lot of people use video, right? You guys all see video in your classes? Okay, so we're going to talk about why that's so important. Okay, any questions before we get rolling? Okay, it's kind of warm in here. I apologize. This room has always been hot. We'll take lots of breaks, so don't worry about it. Okay, first of all, an order of business. So all of the handouts and things, rather than making handouts for you, I just wasn't sure how many people would be here today. So all of the handouts are available for you to download. So the URL that I want you to write down is, got a shortcut for it. Let me bring up Notepad real quick here. Give me just a second so you can all write it down. And this is case sensitive, so you have to use uppercase, lowercase, okay? Let me make that bigger, I'll blow it up. Okay, that's the URL where all the handouts are going to be located at. So it's goo.goal, that's a shortcutter. Let's see if I can scooch this over across the screen here so it can be recorded. Capital J, 366, capital K, capital C. So you can bring that up right now if you'd like, because we're going to be relying on some of these handouts. Everybody get that? I'll leave it up for a few more seconds. Okay, now the other application I want you to download right now, we're not going to use it immediately, but we're going to use it when we get to PowerPoint, is I want you to download an application. It's free. It's called Color Contrast Analyzer. You can see it right here. This is it. I've actually opened it up. Now notice that the spelling for color is British. It's not American. So it's COLOUR, Color Contrast Analyzer. And you can find that got too many windows open here. Hold on. This is tricky. Get this back over here. This is the download site for Color Contrast Analyzer. It's this one right here. Whoops, let me get this out of the way. So this is the one you want at the very top, Color Contrast Analyzer with the CCA. And then it has TPG-Digital Accessibility Solutions. So what I'd like you to do is take a couple minutes and download that to your computer because we're going to need that in just a little bit. It's free, download it. Now you want if you're on a Mac, there's a Mac version. And the Mac version looks a little different. I mean, the download's a little different. You want, if you're on a Mac, you want the option that says DMG. If you're on Windows, you're going to want the option which says EXE, which is right here. So download that, put that on your computer, run that, and this is what you're going to get once it opens. And don't worry about what all this means just yet. We'll talk about it later, but go ahead and download it. So one of the things when we get to PowerPoint or any graphics program where you're dealing with text and background colors is what's called the color contrast. Does anybody know what I mean by color contrast? What is it? Anybody? Okay, so color contrast is how well you can distinguish the foreground text from the background color. Now, how many of you in your classes, now I'm not picking on anybody, any faculty, and I don't want you to throw out names, but how many times have you seen your faculty in your classes that have put together some sort of a PowerPoint presentation and they put like a really light text against a white background? Or maybe they put a color text against a black background, but you can't quite see what the text says. Have you all seen something like that? I have. Okay, that's color contrast. So what we're looking for when we get to this part of this presentation today is we're looking for a ratio. And there's a ratio that's a legal ratio for color contrast because some people can't distinguish colors very well. So the legal ratio, and you'll learn all this later, is 4.5 to 1, which means that the front text, the text has a ratio or a color ratio or a color contrast, which is about half as bright or twice as bright, depending upon the background, as whatever the background color is, if it's black and white. Okay, so 4.5 to 1. That's the legal standard for that type of thing. So this tool will help you determine whether or not the faculty member that you're going to be helping has put together something with the correct color contrast. Because they don't know. They just throw colors out there, right? They put all sorts of goober in there and whatnot, and they can't tell. What's another problem that you've seen with PowerPoint presentations? I've seen it a lot. It's when people put different types of colors into a sentence to draw attention. Like they'll put red text or green text or yellow text. And they do this in Canvas too. You guys see that in Canvas where they try and get your attention? What's the problem with red text? Anybody want to guess? It has to do with what you were talking about. It has to do with, remember you mentioned something. It has to do with what you were talking about. Well, it could be the ratio, but actually it's more basic than even that. Do you know that a person with color blindness typically can't distinguish the color red? What do you think they see when they go to a stoplight in their car? When they look up at the stoplight, what do they see instead of red?
Gray.
Well, there's a green, but no, when the red light is on, what do they see?
Gray.
Gray, the gray. I'm sorry, I misread. Yes, they see gray. So red turns to gray. And so when they see red text in a PowerPoint, they see gray text. There's no red. Their eyes don't distinguish that color. So that's why we have to be very careful about colors and things like that. So we'll get more to that when we get to PowerPoint. Did everybody get this downloaded? Okay, great. Okay, sneak in here. Thanks. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is captioning. And we're going to show you 3 different ways to do captioning, depending upon what product the faculty member is using. Okay? So, first things first. Sorry, I wasn't logged in earlier, so I'm going to log in now. So I'm going to have, you can do this along with me if you'd like. We're going to go to Canvas. And you can log in. Oh, that is really big. Oh. This is hard to do. And I fat fingered my password. Okay, so there's 3 products that we support on campus for video. And it would be really helpful if, when you're checking and you're working with the faculty, if you make sure that they're using one of these 3 products. Because the 3 products that we support also support automatic captioning. It's called ASR, automatic speech recognition. Now, YouTube has it too. Who here uses YouTube? A couple of people. So YouTube, when you upload to YouTube, you automatically see automatic speech recognition. You'll see closed captioning. It converts automatically. So YouTube has it too. So if you want to count YouTube, you can call that 4. So our 3 products plus YouTube. I don't think Vimeo has this yet. So if you stay with those 4 products, you'll be fine. So the 4 products that we're going to walk through are Kaltura. And Kaltura looks like, when you open Canvas, it appears to you and your faculty as My Media on the sidebar. There'll be an option that says My Media. That's Kaltura. So think of Kaltura as like a personal YouTube. Okay? So faculty can record, and then they can upload their videos to Kaltura, and then they can automatically caption. That's one. The second one is called Opto. And Opto appears in Canvas as Opto videos. You'll see it on the sidebar. I'll show it to you in just a couple minutes. That also automatically captions. The third product is called Zoom. And we're using Zoom right now. And Zoom has a feature which does automatic transcripts. And I'll show you how to turn that feature on as well. Okay? So what you need to do, if you're working with faculty for your 899 class, you need to make sure that they're using one of those 3 products or YouTube. If they're using something else, you're not going to get automatic captions. And if you don't have automatic captions, if you don't have captions, that video is not accessible. Okay. Now, here's one problem with captions. Captions are only about 70% accurate, our automatic captions. The closer you are to the microphone, the more accurate they are. So if I was to come over and put the microphone really close, then the captions would be more accurate. Okay? So a headset with the little microphone, they're pretty good. But if you're lecturing in a class like this, and you have microphones like hanging out from the ceiling, your captioning quality goes down significantly. So think about it. If you were a disabled person and you relied on closed captions to be able, so you're deaf, hard of hearing, and you relied on captions and they were only 70% accurate, think about what the words would look like when you're listening back to the video. It would be terrible because only half the words, a little more than half the words would be accurate. So you have to be really careful. It'll get you started, but it's not a perfect solution. Okay? So here's how you do it. And you can kind of follow along with me if you'd like. You may not have a video, but so if you don't or have access to a video, you can just watch me. If you do, then you can do it yourself. So I'm in Canvas, and I am going to go to a class. And I'm going to click on My Media. Again, this is the Kaltura option. Now, faculty, or you, if you're working with faculty, can upload video right here. So you can record videos on your phone or a different product, a camera, and you can upload the videos right here. There's an option, that big blue button that says Add New. So you can upload the videos right from here. Now, Kaltura also has a mobile app. So if the faculty member wants to record videos on their mobile app, they can do that too. It's called, in case you want to go download it, it's free. It's called KMC Go. Kaltura Media Center Go. I got some kind of wheel site here. We'll do it the long way here. This is the app. You can go on to the Apple Store, or you can go to the Android store and you can download it. Then you can record videos on your phone, and they upload automatically into Canvas. And this is the way a lot of people prefer to do it, because everybody records video on their phones now. But there's some other ways too. We'll get to that in just a second. That's not the important part for right now. What I instead want to show you is how you actually request the captions. So I clicked on My Media. Let's back up. This is where I'm at. And some videos come up. You can see the videos are in the middle of the screen. They look like YouTube videos. And I can play them, and I can edit them, and I can do all of those sorts of cool things, just like you can with YouTube. So let's bring up this one, which was something, I don't even know what it was. You can see the videos right here. Our video. Okay, so I'm not going to play it. That's not the important thing. The important thing is how you request the captions for that video. So after the video has been uploaded into My Media, here's what you do. And there's a handout which explains all this, by the way. So you can take notes, which is great, but you can download my handout and it'll tell you all the steps. Here's what you do. You come down the screen just a little bit, just below the video, and there's an option which says Actions. You click Actions, just like that, and then you select the option which says Order Captions. Does everybody see that? Okay. So when you order captions, this is what happens. You get a screen which says Fidelity. This is the accuracy of the captions. Now there's only one option, and that's what's called mechanical. This is the automatic. And you can see what is the fidelity of the automatic? What is it? You read it back to me. 70 to 80%. So not super, super good, is it?
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's not great. And remember, the further you are from the microphone, the worse it gets. Okay, if I'm way ways away, you'd be lucky to get 70%. So when the captions come back, you can edit them. And I'll show you here in a minute how you can edit the captions, okay? So you can make them, more accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Order Captions. And it's ordering them. Okay, it says, thank you, your captions have been ordered. So what you'll have to do then is you'll have to come back in about anywhere, depends upon how long your video is. You may have to come back in somewhere between 12 and 24 hours to see where it's at, because it's all automatic. Your video is actually going to a supercomputer to be captioned. Does anybody remember, there's a show on television, American television, called Jeopardy? Have you ever seen Jeopardy? Okay, it's a game show. There was a game show on Jeopardy with a supercomputer made by the company called IBM called Watson. It was a computer that actually beat the contestants. A supercomputer beat the contestants. Your video is going to Watson, and Watson is automatically captioning it, and it's going to send it back to you. So that's how that's all done. All in the background.
After 24 hours?
Well, usually it's pretty quick. Again, this was only a 5-minute video, so this will probably be turned around in sometime about the next hour. But if it's a long video, it could take 24 hours. So I've already done this a couple of times, and they're already completed. So you can see it says complete and complete. I've done this one twice before. You can see it right here. So there they are right there. You can see it. This one says complete, this one says complete. Now, when you see complete, see that little CC icon on the bottom? Anybody know what that stands for? Closed captions. So this video has already been automatically captioned, and the CC appears on the very bottom. That's called a closed caption. So I didn't have to do anything except order captions, and then the closed captions appears for me. So let's rehearse that. I want to make sure you understand that. This is really important. So what do I do first to order the captions? What do I do?
First, you need to upload the video.
You upload the video. Okay, good. Upload the video.
Go to Action.
Good. Actions.
And choose Order.
Order cap. Boy, you're paying attention. That's good. Order captions. And I only have one option, right? So then what do I do? Order captions. That's all you have to do. So like 3 clicks. That's all you have to do. Tough, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now that's the easy part. Now let's pretend for a moment that the captions are really bad, that they come back and it's all just a bunch of nonsense. When you play the video back and you turn closed captions on, you see a bunch of gibberish. You know what I mean by gibberish, if I say that? I mean nonsense, just jumbo, mumbo jumbo, nothing. You can't tell what it is. Mm-hmm. So you may have to edit them, okay? So here's how you edit the video captions. Now you don't edit them through Canvas. You go to a different location. In the handout, I have a handout that talks about this. So you can take notes if you want, or you can just go download my handout. Where you do that is you're going to go to a different site altogether, not inside Canvas. You're going to go to video.emporia.edu. Again, this is all in the handout, so you can take notes if you want, or you can just download the handout and print it off later. Looks like this. Move my video window out of the way. I hate seeing myself on video. Ugh. Ugh. You're going to log in the upper right. You're going to use your Emporia State credentials to log in. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. I'm going to forget this all day long here. Okay. Okay, once you're logged in to, this is Kaltura. Once you're logged in, you're going to see all of your videos. So I'm going to scroll down. Oops, sorry, my bad. You're going to go up here where it says your name, and you're going to go to where it says My Media. This is really hard to see. Okay, now you're going to see all your videos. There's all of mine right there. And this is the one I was just looking at called Personal Meeting Room. This was some recording I did. I don't even know what it is. It's just garbage. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it to open it up. And there's the video. I'm going to scroll down to Actions. I'm sorry. Go a little further here. This is going to be harder than I thought. I probably should have done this a different way here. Hang on just a second here. You're going to scroll down to where it says Captions Requests. And this shows you all of the captions that you requested. Remember, I had 2 that I'd already done, and one of them I just queued up. So there they are. Now notice there's an edit button beside 2 of them because they were already done. So I can click on edit for those. Either one, it's the same one, so it doesn't make any difference. And this is the caption editor which comes up. So I want to explain to you what you're seeing, because it's kind of confusing, but once you kind of get the hang of it. So this is what's called Cielo 24. This is the caption editor. Here's my video right here, right? There's the play button, the fast forward, the rewind, all those types of features are down here. Then up here are the captions that were added automatically. That's all the text in English. And by the way, you can convert this to different languages too. There's different, it's not just English, there's different languages as well. But what you're going to do is you're going to play the video. I won't do it now, but you'll play the video by clicking the play button. And you'll watch these bubbles over here as the playback is playing. With me? And what you're going to do is you're going to look to see if the text matches what the video is saying. Text needs to match what the video is saying. If it doesn't, then you can put your cursor inside this bubble and you can use your keyboard and backspace out the text and type in the correct text. So this is a little editor. Actually, I think, sorry, actually you do it down, my mistake. You do it down here, not up there. So this is the actual editor. This tells you where you are in the video. And then this is where you edit right here. So you would just use your backspace key and type in the correct text. But you have to listen to the video while you're watching the text. Now, if you want to do that for the entire video, that's great. Then you're going to be guaranteed that you're going to get 100% accuracy. If you just leave it and don't do anything, you're going to get about 70% accuracy. But you can fix words, individual words that are really all messed up. Okay, so you can go in and just fix an individual word. Where this is really important is if you happen to ever be working in the health sciences field and you're helping a doctor or you're helping a nurse and they're doing a video and they're talking about drugs. And drugs and pharmaceuticals have long, complicated names. And when they say those names, the way that the transcription thing works could really mess them up. And this is life or death. Because if the transcription doesn't convert the word correctly, the person watching the video who's deaf could see a completely different name of a drug because of the way it captions. Does that make sense? So you have to be really careful that whatever they're saying matches what's in the text. So if you're dealing with health professionals, this is really critical because you can kill somebody. They could get the wrong drug. Okay? All right. Any questions about that? So you go to the video.emporia.edu, log in, find the video, open the video, go down to the Actions menu. Again, this is all the handout. And then click on the Caption Request. And then edit. Once you're done, just save it. Good? Okay.
So for caption, do you have like a certain standard? For example, you have to this made 80% matches.
Well, yes, there are. The law says, the federal law says it needs to be 99% accurate. Now, what we're telling faculty for now, just for now, is that if you can use the automatic captioning and get to 70, 75%, it's a good start. We're not there yet. We could still be sued. You could still have an attorney call us and say your captions aren't good enough. But at least it helps the faculty get started because a lot of them have never done any captioning at all. So it's a first step. Consider it a first step. If you have time to go in and fix it, that's even better. We'll get there eventually. Okay? We all good? Okay, we're going to move along because we're going to take a break at 2, but I've got some more things I want to cover. Mouse, mouse, mouse. This is really hard to do. I don't know how you guys do this. It's going to take a while. Okay, the next product I want to show you is Panopto. And a lot of faculty use Panopto. It's a lecture capture product. It's a little different than Kaltura. Kaltura is like a YouTube kind of thing where you can put videos and you watch them and put them in class, embed them into the Canvas site. Panopto is designed for people who do lectures and they capture the lecture. And we have a lot of faculty using both products. Okay, so this is Panopto. Now, again, I have a handout on all this, so you can either take notes or you can just, later you can get the handout and call it a day. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Panopto site to log in. And that's login.panopto.com, and that's P-A-N-O-P-T-O, Panopto. Opto is like I, you're seeing. And you're going to get this screen. And you're going to put your email address in. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? You're going to get a sign-in screen. You're going to want to use the ESU user ID and password option from the drop-down. You can also sign in with there's a Canvas option too. You can sign with Canvas too. Either one. Either one works. Now this one is a little easier to use and it's faster. And I'll show you how fast it is. So with Kaltura, you had to order the captions and it took, what, I said anywhere from a few hours to maybe a day. With Panopto, it's almost instantaneous. And I'll show you here just in a second how you do it. So here's your videos. You're going to see the videos in Panopto or the faculty's videos. And if you need help getting into your faculty members' course site, let us know. We can get you access to their course site so you can see their videos if they're using Panopto. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull up one of the videos. I'll just grab one here. I don't even know what this is, but we'll pull it up. Okay, I'm going to pause it. Just real quick so you understand what Panopto is. It records PowerPoint, or whatever's on the desktop along with the video. It does at the same time. So this is, I don't even know whose this is. It's not important. But this is their PowerPoint presentation over here. Or it's actually Google Slides. And here's their video over here. Okay, so it kind of puts them together so you can watch video and PowerPoint at the same time. All right, here's how you request the captions. Really simple to do, but follow carefully. While you're at your video, you're going to want to come over to this little pencil icon, which is right, look at where I'm circling up here. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
See that little pencil icon? That's the editor. So I'm going to click on the little editor icon right there. And the editor launches. And I can play the video and I can trim video and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not worried about any of that. We're not here to edit video. We're here to caption. So once you click on the pencil icon and you get to the editor, you're almost there. Let's see if I can scooch this. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Over on the far left-hand side, second option down, it says what?
Captions.
Captions. So I'm going to click on that. And then there's an option which says import. See that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to click on import. And there's two options. I can either upload a file or I can import automatic captions. Now, upload we're not doing for now. That's beyond you guys. We're not concerned about that. That's a caption file. That's somebody that actually types out the captions in a Word file, and you can upload them so that they sync with the video. That's way beyond you. Instead, we're going to do the import automatic captions. So let me click it. And ta-da, just like that, all the captions are there. So those are actually the captions for this presentation, plus the timestamp. In other words, what time in the video that they were speaking or doing something. Okay. Now, it looks like a bunch of nonsense, right? It looks like somebody's having a conversation. Do you know why that is?
So far, the voice.
You're really close, and you're teasing that out. So what's happened in this particular case, I haven't seen this video, but I know what happened. That the person doing the presentation, me, I wasn't close enough to a microphone, but the students were. They were probably right underneath the microphone. And so what it's picking up is student conversations. Not my voice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is all jacked up. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to edit. In this particular case, it's going to be so jacked up. You're going to have to actually edit all of the captions for all this stuff. So to do that, it's real simple. It just takes some time. So what you have to do is you have to click inside each one of these little lines of text while you're playing the video, and then you can type in the correct words. You can see it down there. So you just click in here and you delete that out, backspace that out, and type in whatever they're actually saying. That make sense? Okay. That's why it's really important that when you're working with your faculty, that you tell them that where they are in relation to the microphone is incredibly important. Incredibly important. They have to be close to the microphone. Now, these are microphones right here, but I can tell that they're off. I can see that they're off because they're not blinking blue. So for whatever reason, these microphones aren't even working. It's coming off the microphone off the back. And so the further I am from that thing, the worse it gets. And what it's going to pick up instead is who's ever closest to it. So if you happen to be having a conversation on your cell phone, that's what it's going to pick up. Not good. There was a faculty member that called us one day and he said, there's something wrong with the automatic captions. Nothing's working in my class. I went, what do you mean? He goes, listen to my video. It sounds terrible. He goes, he swore it got hacked. And when I listened to it, I was hearing, he had some presentation he was doing and I was hearing, yeah, okay, sure, I'll call you back later. Huh? Yeah, how's mom doing? You know, all this other stuff. And we realized what was going on is it was picking up the students in the class, not him. So that's what you run into. So microphone, microphone, microphone. Okay, let's rehearse real quick before I show you the last one. What do you do? What's the site that you go to? Login.panopto.com. You log in. Remember, you have to use which?
Is your Canvas?
You can use either Canvas or the issue. If you use the Canvas one, it looks like it'll come up with a screen. Log in. Find the video. Then what do? There's a little icon you click. The pencil icon. That's the editor. So you got the pencil icon.
Then go to Caption.
Then go to Captions on the left. And then you're almost there. After you click Captions, and import, which is on the ball. Import automatic captions. Done. You're ready to go. And you may have to edit them. But you don't have to go to a separate site to edit. Okay? You good? That's Kaltura. And that's Panopto. So that's 2 of the 3 I wanted to show you before we took our first break. The last one is Zoom. The last one is Zoom. Now, there's a setting I want you to make sure that whenever you're using Zoom, that you have this one particular setting set. So, here it is. What you're going to do, again, I don't think I have a handout on this yet, but I will soon. So hold tight. You're going to go to Emporia State, all one word, .zoom.us. Emporia State, one word, .zoom.us. Again, I don't have a handout yet, but I will sometime soon. You're going to click on Sign In. It's hard to see. Am I on Sign In? Can't tell. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Right there. You're going to click on Sign In. And you're going to log yourself in. So now the faculty member that you're working with is going to have to do this. You can't do this on behalf of them. They have to do this part. Okay. Log in. You're going to get to this screen. This is the Zoom portal. How many of you have seen this before, the Zoom portal? Nobody. Okay, good. Well, most people don't even know this exists. You just click on the little icon, you click record, and you go. But this is the Zoom portal. This is the backend. This way you can change all your settings. I'll show you another cool thing while we're here too. On the left-hand side, you're going to want to go to My Recordings. And Settings. I can't quite see my eyes. I got to be more. Let me scroll over here. Gotta find the option. Give me a second. Bear with me. Can't see that far. Just be closer to the top. Let's see here. Well, unless they moved it. Oh, there it is. I just wasn't looking. See that option says audio transcript right there? Make sure that's checked. Now you only have to do it once. You don't do it every time. Once you select it, it's there. You don't have to worry about it again. Now what that's going to do is it's automatically going to create an audio transcription file for all of your Zoom calls. Automatically. So then, when you go to play the video back after you recorded it, there'll be an audio transcription file which comes up with it automatically. So let's just do that. See if we can do that here real quick. Let's see here, my recordings. So it's recorded. Okay, now, I don't even know what this is. This was just some recording I was doing. When I open up the video recording, automatically an audio transcript comes up over on the right side. So everything I said in this video recording also creates an audio a file that you can download, a text file, called an audio transcription. Now, disabled people need that. They have to have that because that is what their screen reader uses to be able to understand what's happening in the video, because they can't hear it. They can't hear it. They have to be able to see what's going on in the text. Plug your ears and watch a video. That's what deaf people are facing. So they have to have this audio file, this transcription file. So once your video is recorded, this file comes along with it automatically. Then their screen reader can read that audio file. Not only that, but the audio file, if the person who's watching it, they want to skip ahead, they don't want to watch the whole thing, they can just click inside the transcript and the video will advance to wherever they happen to be. So the video is associated with the transcript file. So wherever they're at, they click and the video will just catch up to it. Make sense? Okay, that's the transcript file on Zoom. And
I'm going to make this thing because the house because I think for my recording after that to go sitting after the second time or the transcript then I can but for me when I go I just I couldn't find options for
okay, you do have a Zoom Pro account, don't you? I hope. Okay, if you don't have a Zoom Pro account, I can look at your Zoom Pro account. You have to have a Zoom Pro.
How can we edit the caption? How can we edit it?
Oh, see the little pencil icon right here? That's where you can edit. So that is the transcript. So we'll take a break here, but there's three videos, three types of videos that you need to know about that we support. So you want to encourage your faculty to use one of the video types that we support. Otherwise, all bets are off. Kaltura, that showed you how to do captioning in that. Opto, that showed you how to caption in that. And Zoom, I showed you how to create an audio transcript file. Now, if you use YouTube, which is fine, YouTube's fine, nothing wrong with it. When you upload to YouTube, it automatically creates the file for you. So you can do it that way too. It creates the closed caption for you as well. But you just have to have a YouTube account, right? So, and all of you do, and faculty do as well. Everybody has a YouTube account. So you can use YouTube. I'm not saying you can't. It's an option. But you get ads across the bottom, and you get sometimes unsavory comments depending upon the video. So you kind of use at your own risk. Okay, questions? It's hot. Okay, let's take 10 minutes. We'll come back at 2:15. We're going to start on Word. Okay? See you in 10 minutes. Yeah, let's go open the door to get some air. It's always hot. This room's always full.
然后就被罚。他最近应该比较忙吧。然后工作，我觉得这个还挺好。
Hey, 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 squad of fans. Got no right people. You guys feeling any of it? They'll come out. That's on high. It was just system. Well, that'll help a little. Yeah. I'll get it. At the end of the day, I'll have it. I'm going to take this keyboard out.
You can even move it from the end.
Have a little bit. Yeah, John. Okay, let's roll so we can get you out of here a little sooner tonight. So we're going to talk about Word. So I need you all to bring up Microsoft Word because you're going to do some work. Work, yeah. Okay, remember that website I gave you, that the Google thing?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to go to that, please. And there's a file in there I want you to open. It's called Sample Syllabus. Actually, I need you to download it rather than just open it. So do a right click and do a save link as. Save it to your computer. Wherever's handy, desktop, wherever you can find it. Right click, save link as. You're going to need that file. Just a Word file. Open it in Word. No, Put your image here. 'Cause you- Oh, you've got G1 and then GL. See? It says-
Oh.
And the problem with its contents. What you talking about? Are you guys able to open it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't. Let's try again. Did everybody get it besides me? Am I the knucklehead here? Okay. Which is typical. No, this is slow. Okay, we'll do it this way instead. Let's see if we can do it this way. What? There's something wrong with this computer. I can't open this one.
Contents.
What's up with this computer? Okay, hold on just a second. We'll try a different way. Sorry, bear with me. You never know what you're going to get. Let's see. Well, I can't open on this computer. There's something wrong. Okay, give me a second. I got it. I'm going to do this a different
You
way.
need to press yes. Click in this. Because, yeah, it says if you trust this file.
Oh, is there an option I missed?
Does it look this? Yes.
Do you want?
Maybe I just was missing. Let's try this. Nope, it's failed. Okay. Did everybody else get this besides me? Did you get it to open?
No.
Everybody? Okay. Just me. Give me a second. Gotta regroup. We'll try it a different way. Why don't one of you email it to me? Could you email it to me as an attachment, please? Our Gibson one. Let's do it that way. This is really hard to do sideways. Let me know when you sent it. You sent it? Nothing yet. Ah. Go this way. Okay. Whew, more than one way to skin a cat. Right, here we go. Okay, so this is a sample syllabus. Raise your hand if you did not get it. Okay. So this is pretty common what you're going to be dealing with the faculty, right? So we're going to, first of all, I'm going to take you through and show you how you check this document or any Word document for that matter, how you check it for accessibility. We're also going to go through and we're going to show you how to create your own custom template. Has anybody ever done that in Word before? Create your own custom template? Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever created your own custom style sheets in Word? Okay, you'll learn some things here. Okay, so this is the document. Now, first things first, let's take you through and show you how you do an accessibility check on your document to see how bad it is. Because typically, these documents that the faculty create are pretty jacked up. They just are, because they don't know what they're doing when it comes to accessibility. So let's check it. And this is no exception. This isn't even ours. This is from California, and I'll bet you it's all jacked up. Let's take a look. So to do that, follow along with me. You have to do this with me. I want you to come up to the File option and click on File. Then scroll down to where it says Check for Issues. And click on that. Then the second option down says Check Accessibility. So then click on that. And let me expand this out. Okay, so these are the problems that was found, and again, this is very common. There's nothing unique about us in this respect. This syllabus isn't even ours. But you can see all the issues which came up over on the right hand side. So let's kind of start to talk about the accessibility checker so we can see how we can fix these types of problems. So from the right hand side, you're going to get issues for accessibility are going to be kind of lumped into different categories. One of them that you can see at the very top says errors. Errors are critical. These are critical issues. You have to fix these. These are not suggestions. They're not tips. You know, they're actually things that are a problem, and you have to fix them. If you scroll down over here, there is a thing called reading order. We'll talk about that in just a second. What else is going on here? Image or object not in line. And I'll talk about that more in just a second here. And let's go back up to the top. So missing alternative text. Image 1, image 2, line 4, line 3, and line 2. So let's start to talk about what these are. Does anybody know what alternative text is? Anybody heard that word before? Alt text, it's often called. And when a screen reader, when a blind person is reading a document, they rely on a screen reader. And the screen reader there's two products that they commonly use. One of them is called JAWS. stands for Job Access with Speech. Another one is called NVDA. JAWS costs money, NVDA is free. They both have their strengths and weaknesses, but that's what blind people use. What JAWS does, or NVDA, is it reads the page back to the blind person. What do you think happens when a screen reader, which reads text, hits an image? Well, it doesn't know what to do with it because the blind person can't see it. So there's a critical image. So you have to have what's called alternative text, which describes what the image is. So we'll talk about how you add alternative text to an image. So if you were to click over here on the right, you will actually highlight where the problem is. So as I click over here, you can see it's actually highlighting where the problem is over here. Furthermore, down below, it tells you how to fix the problem. And this is what you're going to have to pay attention to. Now you may think, I'm an instructional designer. I shouldn't have to do this kind of stuff. This is for a disability person or a specialist. No, this is you. This is me. This is what we have to do. This is part of our job, what we do now. So you're going to have to learn how to do this type of thing. So here's what we're going to do. For this particular object right here, we're going to add a description and some alt text. Now, the description sort of describes what the object is. Now, what is that object that we're looking at? What is it? Logo. It's a logo. It's specifically, it's the Division of Continuing Education logo, right? So you would actually just type that out because remember, that's what a screen reader is going to actually see. It's going to read that back. So I would say, oh, that's okay. I got it. Thanks. So the Division of, I'm probably going to misspell, but that's okay. You get the idea. Continuing Education logo. Got it? So that error or that issue should now be fixed. So then you can move to the next one. Notice that the error went away. What is that? It's a seal. It's the University of California state seal. So you would write that out. The University of California state seal. I'm not going to do the whole thing because we're just practicing. University of California state seal. Okay? Notice that error's gone now. Now, this one is tricky because it's a line across there. It's not a graphic, it's not a seal, it's not a logo, it's just a line. You can ignore that. That's what's called a decorative image. Decorative, which means it's just for pretty. And you can ignore pretty. You don't have to worry about that. Screen readers don't care about pretty. So you can ignore it if it's a line. Just forget it. There's nothing you can put there. What are you going to do? Write down the word it's a line? So just ignore it. So if it's a decorative image, which those lines are, forget it. Anything that looks like it's decorative, just ignore it. Well, there's that seal again on the next page, page 2, I think. And so you would continue to add those or fix those. Now, instead of doing it the way they did it here, which is, it looks like to me they replicated the same thing on each page. What you would do instead is you can create a template. If you're going to be doing this type of thing over and over and over and over and over, and you can put the seal and the logo on the template. That way you don't have to recreate it each time. We'll talk about that in just a second. What else is here? More stuff. Okay, there's also a table down here. And the table, what's it saying? Check for reading order on the table. Check for reading order. Now, what it's telling you with reading order, and you'll get to know these errors and messages better as you do this, but it tells you right down there exactly what it is. It shows you, gives you a tip on how to do it and how to fix it. Reading order is that when the person, the blind person, is looking at a table, they press the tab key, the cursor will jump to the appropriate cell. And it does it from top to bottom, left to right. That's how screen readers work. So you want to make sure that if somebody's reading a table, it goes from this cell to this cell to this cell, back to this cell, this cell, this cell, back to this cell, this cell, this cell. Make sense? That's called the reading order. So it just wants you to check to make sure that it's tabbing okay. So what you would do is you come up to the table and you put the cursor in the first cell. And you tab. Watch the cursor. Did it tab to the correct cell? It's right here. Going from there to there. Is that the correct reading order? Yes. Let's press tab again. Did it go to the correct cell? Top to bottom, left to right? Yes, it did. Let's press tab again. So the reason it hopped back over here is because this cell spans multiple rows. See it? It goes all the way from there, all the way down there. There's multiple rows inside one cell. So does it correct? Yes. Press tab again. Did it go the correct one? Yes. Correct one? Yes. Back to the first one because it spans. Correct? Correct? So the reading order is okay. So we're all right. We'll talk more about tables in just a little bit. So this is how you check for accessibility. So I want you right now, if you haven't done it, to open up the accessibility checker on that document and run it. So do that right now. Then I want you to go through the errors on the side, the alt tags, and add the description for what you see. Fix the document. I'll come around and help you. This is worth mentioning. There's two. Let me bring up an image here to show you real quick. You may see this. I want you to make sure you understand the difference between the two. So I'm going to go back up to the top. I'm going to click on this logo, this seal, and I'm going to come down to where it says Format Picture. You guys have all probably seen this a million times in Word. Now, over on the right-hand side, you can see that under the format, under this option right here, which looks like a hexagon, there's an option here called alt text, which you can add it there as well. So let me just back up here for just a second. I'm sorry, my bad. I misled you. It's not under that one icon. It's the one to the right of it. Here's the alt text. Now, notice there's two things that you can put in the alt text. One says the title, and one says the description. So what's the difference between the title and the description of an image? Well, for a screen reader, what they're typically going to kind of key in on is going to be the title. That's what the screen reader is going to read back as the title. So you're going to want to say something like the seal, the California State Seal. Now, in the description, you can get more wordy if you want to. What you don't want to do is put the same thing in the title as you do in the description. Don't copy the same text and put it in the same place. Not good practice. So the title can be shorter, but the description needs to be a little bit longer and more descriptive of what the actual thing is. You could say something a little longer. It doesn't have to be real long, but something more than just the seal of California. Okay? So you may see both of those. Okay, so you go through and you need to check each of those components out in that syllabus to make sure that all of the images have descriptions in alt text. What did I say that line was called there?
Decorative.
This line and this line, what was it called?
Decorative.
Decorative.
Decorative images. Do you need to put an alt text for a decorative image?
No.
No, you do not have to do that.
Usually, someone, she follow all the steps from accessibility to doesn't.
Okay, I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, so if you get a situation like on this computer, which it says it can't run the accessibility checker, very common. Anybody want to venture a guess as to why hers could not check, but everybody else could?
Yeah. Version.
The version of Word or the version of the document. So what you need to do is you need to close the document or save it as the most current version of Word. It thinks it's still in the older version. The accessibility checker wasn't around with the Word 2013, the earlier versions. So in other words, let me back up because I'm probably not making much sense. Save the document or resave the document in the most current Word format. That's the 2016 version. Close it down, bring it back up, and it'll be fine. Okay? Great question. So this is going to be something that you guys are going to see, our syllabus or a syllabi. So you're going to need to go, and they're all going to be different. They're all going to be very strange. Let me tell you some of the problems that you're likely to encounter when it comes to the way the faculty format their syllabi. It's very common. People make this mistake all the time, and the accessibility checker will catch it. One of the things you want to make sure that they don't do, and they do it all the time, is that they want to move the cursor to the middle of the page. So they take and they press the space bar. Space, 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 space. They move the cursor over. Then they start typing. Accessibility checkers hate those spaces. Don't do that. They can't do that. Instead, use your tab. Your tab stops. And on the ruler bar, you can also see your left and right indents or your center indents. Use those instead. Do not use multiple spaces. The other thing that accessibility checkers hate is when you have a document and you create extra space between the stop at the bottom of one section and the start of another section. So people hit return, 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 and then they start typing the next section. Accessibility checkers will throw errors left and right. Don't do that. Accessibility checkers look for that content to be very close. One return or one hard stop. Just one, not multiple. If you hit return, 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 you're going to get tons of errors. So no spaces, right? No multiple returns. Don't do that. Or you're going to get lots of problems. Every image that you load into your syllabus, if it's the picture of the faculty member, whatever, you have to have the alt text and the description. What's the difference? We just went through it. The title is shorter and the description is long. You just want to make sure that you have it. All right. What other issues did we see? Okay, by the way, help me out. Repeat. How did I start the accessibility check? What did I do?
File.
File, then what?
And then check for issues. No, from the open.
Check for issues. Then what?
Check for issues.
Check for system. Very good. Okay, what other fun things can we find? Okay, now when it says something is not in line, let's highlight it and see what that says. There's a number of potential problems with that. Okay, what it means with the reason it's throwing this particular error, it says the images are not in line. The reason being is because when they were added, that logo, that California State logo, and the California State seal, when they added those to the header of this document, they let them kind of float. They just manually drug them to where it kind of looks at it. And they manually drug this one to where it looks at it. And they saved it, and they called it a day. Well, the screen reader says, that's not good. You need to have those all the way to the bottom and lined up across the bottom of the head, or the top of the head, or the sides of the head. You can't just have them out there floating around. Okay, that's what inline means. All right, what else we got? The table, we've been through that. And by the way, notice that that's a warning. That's not an error. It's very important that you understand the difference between a warning and an error. Error is important. You got to fix it. A warning just says check it. It may be okay, but you got to check it to make sure it's okay. All right? We're good? All right. Now, here's the way screen readers need to work. And the structure of the document is very important. And we're going to get into this. And I'm going to show you how to create your own custom template in just a second. The way that screen readers have to work is they typically start off at the top of the page of a document. There's going to be a title of some sort. Then the first thing that comes down after that, the first major section, is a header. And then you're going to have subheaders underneath that. And it's very important that you structure your documents so that you follow heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. Because the screen reader reads them in that sequence. If you get a heading 3 up above a heading 2, or a heading 2 above a heading 1, then the screen reader is going to be all messed up. Because when it goes down the page, what it does is it looks for heading 1, and then it looks for heading 2, and then it looks for heading 3. So we have to make sure things are in that correct structure. Screen readers are set up so that it actually will seek out heading 1. So a person who's really good with a screen reader will actually go through and pull up a little menu in JAWS, and it'll just skip heading 1 to heading 1 to heading 1 to heading 1 all the way through the document until they get to where they want to read it. So that structure is really important. So here's what you're going to do. We're going to start a brand new document. So everybody start a file new. It could be just a blank document. So Okay? Now, the first thing that comes up is what's called the normal template. This is the default word template. It's called normal. You can modify normal if you want, but normal is typically, since it's the default template, you oftentimes don't want to mess with that particular template because it's the default for all the blank templates. Instead, you're going to create your own custom one, and you're going to create it based on what I just told you, which is the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, right? So here's what you're going to do. Let's look at, in this little style sheet that's popping out here, there's title. Let's put the title in. So I'm going to click on title, and I'll just type in some nonsense. This is what a title would look like. And notice the title is in what font? Calibri Light 28. That's the default normal title font. Calibri 28. In fact, to make this a little easier so you understand, I'm actually going to type in the word title. Okay, let's, with a misspell. Okay, let's come down to heading 1. And then I'll put heading 2, heading 3. Those are the major structural elements of most Word documents. Title, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. Let's apply the style sheet to these and see what they look like. So let's click on heading 1. And let's come up here and click on heading 1 on the style sheet. Okay, what is the problem with the default normal template heading 1 style? Well,
It's bigger.
you want it bigger because headings, because it should be bigger and then a little bit smaller and then a little bit smaller. That's not my problem. My problem is I don't like the color. Right. Well,
The space
it
between.
may be the wrong font. Maybe I don't like Calibri, so I can fix that. If I don't like the size, I can fix that. But if I don't like the color, I can fix that. Okay?
The space between the title and the heading.
So again?
It's the space between the title and the heading.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm actually just looking at the font itself. Let's keep going. Skip that. We'll come back. Let's go to heading 2. I like that. Okay, still is not bad, but what's going on? It's the wrong color. I want it black, and it's in blue. So the normal template gives me a blue heading 1 and a blue heading 2. And I don't want blue. I want black. Okay? Let's go to heading 3. And it's blue again. So everything blue. So we're going to fix all that. We're going to take care of this. And we're going to create our own custom template. Okay. And then I'm going to come back and show you how to create your own custom style sheets. Why do you want to create your own custom template? Well, picture this. If you had to modify every Word document manually, it'll take you all day long. You would have to go into every document, change the heading to the correct heading structure, change the color to black, and then resave the document for every heading that you have in the document. You have to manually change each and every one of those, from blue to black, or from this font to that font. With me? So you don't want to do that. That takes all day. Instead, you want to use a template, and then the template that you apply, you can use for all of your documents from that point forward. Let's say I don't want that font. So instead of Calibri, let's change it to, just so you can see it a little bit better, we'll change it to Arial Black because It's not what I would normally use, but at least you can kind of see it a little bit better. So I changed the font. I'm going to change the color. Black. Now I've got Arial black, and the color is black. Okay. I have modified the template, I'm sorry, the title, the heading 1, heading 2, and the heading 3. Are we good so far? All right, now we're going to save this as a custom template. So to do that, we're going to come up to File, and we're going to go to Save As. Now, when it says Save As in a location, you're going to want to make sure that you choose, you're not saving a Word document, but you're instead saving a template. So you want to select the option which says Word Template down here. So choose Word Template. Now, something very, very important about this. Notice the path where it's going to be saving it. Don't change that. Don't create your own folder, and don't put it in your own folder. I'll tell you why in just a minute. It's going to save it in a path, and you can actually see the full path. It's C:. Yeah, I thought I could see the whole thing. It's C: users, the username, and then it goes into documents, and then it goes into custom office templates. With me? Okay. So you're going to call it whatever you want, and I'm going to call it accessible template. You call it whatever you want. I don't know. Okay? Don't change the location. It's a Word template, not a Word document. Very important. Click Save. You have just created your own custom Word template with the heading structure the way you want it, using heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, in a font or a typeface that you want, in a color that you want, and in a size that you want. So every time you open up this template, you can apply that style sheet to your documents. You don't have to go through and do the color picking and all that. It's already done. You just did it. Now, let's close this out, and I'll show you how this works. I'm going to just close that template out to shut it down. When you go into File, New, and you select the option which says Personal, here, not Featured. Featured is the default. You select Personal. Hey, look what comes up. It's the template that you just created. Right there. That's the accessible template just created. So when you select the accessible template, there it is. Now, you don't have to necessarily have words on the screen. You don't have to type in the word heading 1, heading 2. But what you do have to do is apply the style sheet to that template. Make sure the color and the font and the size is right. That's what you want. Now, every time that you type in this document, the style guide is going to adhere to whatever selections that you made for heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. Because you create your own custom template. That's how you create a template. Now you may think, why are we doing templates? This is an accessibility course. Well, because you want to make sure that your documents are in an accessible format to start with, and this is how you do it. You always do a custom template. Now you can also create a custom style sheet. If you go up here to this little ribbon right here, there's an option, just a little arrow. It's just kind of hovers just below the style sheet menu or the style sheet ribbon. And one of the options is create a style. So you can click on create a style right there, create a style. And you can call this style whatever you want. I'll call mine accessible. Now this style, then you can modify your style however you want. So you can modify all of the elements on the page according to that particular style. This is not a template. This is a style. It's a word style. Now, where do you use word styles? Well, what's cool about the word style is that you can, once you get a style created, you can apply the style from the design, and it'll adhere to whatever style that you choose. And there's all of these are already here. You can create your own custom one. So then all you have to do is highlight the document and click on the style, and voila, everything is done for you. The entire Word document is formatted for you. Make sense? So that's how you create a template. And that's how you create a custom style. Okay, before we take a break, I'm going to have you do one thing for me. This is a hands-on. It's very important. I meant to do this an hour ago, but we're going to do it now. All of this stuff that we're covering is all available in this course that I want you to enroll in right now. We're going to do it. We're going to do it together. These are all free. There are 7 courses. In fact, Stephanie and I are working on making this mandatory for all of the faculty and staff on campus. But you're going to get a chance to try it out. We like it so much. There are 7 courses. Each of these little courses takes about 30, 40 minutes to go through. There's a couple of them on some background on accessibility and styles, guides, those types of things. But there's one specifically on Word. There's one specifically on PowerPoint. There's one specifically on Acrobat. A couple others I forget. So here's where you're going to go to do that, and then we'll take a break. From a browser, I want you to type in the word EduPaths. It's EduPaths. EduPaths. And when you get to that, I'll kind of pause for just a moment. I want you to click where it says Account Login. I think this will get you there. It's always a tricky. And you should see an option that says Register as a new user. If you haven't done it before, which you probably haven't. Go ahead and register as a new user. Free. This is from the Michigan State Department of Education. So once you do that, while you're doing that, I am going to log in. And what's really cool about this is that it's based on it's structure on Canvas, and so you are already familiar with the interface. Now, the courses that I want you to subscribe to, there's several free ones, and the ones I want you to subscribe yourself to are under the section, I think it's called ADA, Americans with Disabilities. I think that's the major group. So browse. We'll take a break if you can't find all of them. And then there's Structure 1, Structure 2, Code, Microsoft Word, Acrobat, PowerPoint, then developing your plan. Register for all 7 of them. And by the way, if you're also a maker, if you like Maker, there's one that you can register for yourself that's kind of cool. It's on Ozobots, which are the little robots, which is kind of cool. There's also one on Bloxels, which you can register for that one. They got all sorts of courses, but the ones I really want you in are the ones called ADA. So subscribe yourself to all 7 of those right now. Do that right now. Okay, we're going to take another heat break. You can keep working on that and get registered, but we're going to come back in about 10 minutes. So 3:10. So cool off. Ah, that fan's not cutting it. I'll come around and help if you need help.
Yeah.
You guys find the courses okay? You're still good. Okay. So, yeah, that's fine. Put in what was it? See that one right there? You load it up. Accessible materials. Courses. And just have to register for each one. It should be registered. You may already be. There's 7 of them. Make sure you get all of them. They're all free.
Yeah.
I want to play a couple videos for you to kind of show you what this is all about. Everybody get signed in? Get all 7 courses out? Cool. You'll love this site. So after we're done today, and you've forgotten everything, just come back here, and you can always re-register. I mean, you don't have to register, but just log in. It's EduPaths, and you can get all of these things and a lot more. These people really know their stuff. And they're little short courses. You can learn a lot in just 30 minutes. So let me play a couple of them for you. So here he's talking about applying styles. And by the way this is organized is they've got tabs across the top. So what you can do when you're in a lesson, when you're in a module, you can go from tab to tab to tab to tab to tab on one page and get different content. And then when you click next, you go to a completely different page. So let's listen. This is how to modify styles. We just kind of talked about this just a minute ago. Hopefully I have audio.
It's critical that you understand how styles work if you want to create an accessible document. But what do you do if the default styles don't match the appearance that you want? In this video, we're going to show you how you can modify styles and use those in a document.
Is that all?
So we'll start with the body text, or in this case, it's normal.
Oops, did I lose it? Just messing around. We'll try it again. Hold on, sorry, my bad. Trying to get the audio. Here we go. Try again, one more time.
It's critical that you understand how styles work if you want to create an accessible document. But what do you do if the default styles don't match the appearance that you want? In this video, we're going to show you how you can modify styles and use those in a document. So we'll start with the body text, or in this case, it's a normal style. As you can see, it's all Times New Roman in this document. And let's say we wanted to change that to an Arial font. I go ahead and change that selection. And while that's still highlighted, if I come up over this box and right click on it, I can select Update Normal to match selection. And as you can see, that's now changed that font style throughout the entire document. Now let's take a look at the headings. We're going to make this a heading 1. But in this case, that's still not the appearance that we want for this style either. Another way to modify styles is to come up over the style, right click on it, choose modify, and then with this box we can go through and make a number of modifications. So I can change the font, I can change the size, do the orientation and the color. And then I can also come down here to this format box and choose from any of these options as well. So we could even add a border around that heading. Go ahead and click OK. And there you go, we've modified that style as well.
Let me show you one or two more. These are so good. Okay. Just a second. Okay, what else did we talk about? So this, and this site also has files that you can download and practice on. So everything he talks about in the video, you can download the file and you can try it yourself. So super cool. Love it, love it, love it. Let's look at one or two more. These are real short. So this is creating, we talked about this. This is creating the style sets as well. Let's look at this one.
Now, one more thing you might want to do if you're using the same styles in multiple documents you're creating is to go ahead and modify what's called a style set. That's going to be up here under Design. And you can see there's a whole list of default style sets, but we can also save the modifications that we made by selecting this button here and then choosing Save as a new style set. Go ahead and give that style set a name. Click Save. and it shows up in your list of saved style sets, and you can access that in any future document that you make.
So with a style set, all you have to do is bring up a document, click on the style set under design, voila! All of the fonts and colors and everything changes automatically. What could be easier, right? Super, super easy. Okay, so that is part of the Word section. Let's see if there's some other super cool stuff in this. Oh, we didn't talk about tables. Really important to talk about tables. So you might have tables in your Word document. A lot of faculty use tables to organize content. Now, it's really important with your documents, with your tables, that you have column headers and row headers. So there should be something that says what the column is and what the row is. Column, row, column, row. Okay? And the table should match, the cells should match or intersect. That's called a simple table. You can also get into what's called a complex table. That gets trickier. That's for more advanced people. Complex tables mean that one of the cells spans multiple. So in other words, it goes across 2 or maybe even 3. So you may have one cell, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's called a complex table. Those are a little trickier for screen readers. But let's show you what we got on tables.
Even if you've made a simple table and you've avoided merging and splitting cells and you fill it with appropriate tabular data, there are a few things that you need to do if you've created that table in Microsoft Word to make the table accessible. If you place the cursor inside the table, you'll see Table Tools as an option in the ribbon. And under Design, there's a checkbox for header row and first column. In this particular table, there is a header row and there is a first column, so we'll leave those boxes checked. Under the Layout tab, you need to make sure that the cursor is placed in the top row and you select Repeat Header Rows. What this does is this ensures that if the table spills over onto another page, the header rows are repeated. The last thing that you need to do is put a bookmark inside the table. Some screen readers are unable to read the headers appropriately without that bookmark. First, I'm going to show you what it's like to use a screen reader without the bookmark in place.
JAWS Professional Table Bookmark Dash Words Print View Edit. Poet Table Table 1 Dash Poets and Their Poems Row 1 of 5. Whitman Row 2 of 5. Longfellow Row 3 of 5. The Light of Stars Column 2 of 5. 1838 Column 3 of 5. 1783-1784 Row 4 of 5.
You can hear that without a bookmark, the screen reader is still unable to read all of the headers in the table.
Okay, so 2 things that are really important. When you create a table, right-click on the table, so you get the table properties, and put that checkbox on which says Repeat Row Header. That's really important. So you may not have caught what he was talking about, but picture this. So you've got a page in Word, and you've got a table. And the table goes across the first page, goes down, 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 and then starts on the second page. With me? Well, without that check mark on the top of the second page, there would be no row header. It would just be cells. So what the screen reader would do is it would read the first page fine, it would say the table headers, and then it would say what's in the cells. And then it gets to the top of the second page and it sees a table with no headers. And so it says, I don't know what this data is. You with me? So by putting that checkbox on, it takes the column header and repeats it on the second page. and so forth and so forth. So the other thing that's really important is the bookmarks. And he talks about that, I think, in another video. I need to mention that really quick. See if I can find that real quick here. This is really, really, really important. Okay, bookmarks. He's going to talk about how you create a bookmark on a table. Now, why do you need a bookmark on a table? Because the screen reader, what it does is it looks for bookmarks in the page. Remember, you're blind. You can't see. You don't know what's going on the page. You can't see the table. So JAWS has to see for you. So JAWS will look for bookmarks. And it puts the bookmarks into a little window. And then the person who's blind can actually use the bookmarks to navigate from table to table to table to table. You with me? Okay, here's how it works. Here's what you need to do. Again, all of this is in here, so you just have to go and look at this again if you ever forget what I said.
Now I'll show you how to add a bookmark to the table. First, place the cursor at the beginning of the first cell in the table, then go up and choose Insert in the ribbon, select Bookmark, and give that bookmark a name. Now in this particular table, because there is a header row and a first column, we have to use the bookmark name title. If this particular table only had column headers or only had a header row, what we would use for a bookmark name is column title. And if this particular table did not have a header row but only had a first column, these would be row headers, and that bookmark name would be row title. If you have multiple tables in a document, each table needs its own bookmark, and that bookmark must be unique. One way to distinguish bookmarks is to add an underscore and a number that goes with it. So for this particular table, what we're going to do is we're going to add a bookmark named title _1. I'm going to add that, save the table. Now let's listen to what this sounds like.
Table 1, uniform table. Whitman, row 2 of 5. Poem. Oh Captain, my Captain. Year written, 1865. Longfellow, 1838.
You can hear that with that bookmark in place, the table is read appropriately. One last thing to note is that you only need to place one bookmark in each table, not one bookmark per cell.
Okay, got it? That works. One bookmark per table, and how you name the bookmark is really important. If you've got a column and a row, it needs to just be the word title. If you've got just a column, it needs to be title or column title. If it's just a row, it needs to be row title. Yeah, make sense? That's how screen readers work. So, to recap, tables, what's the little check mark you put on to make sure that that screen reader can read the table on 2 pages? It's called repeat header row. You find that under the table properties. Make sure that's checked on. Okay? You also want to add a bookmark. Insert bookmark. Okay? You got tables. Awesome. Let's see what else we've got. What other trouble we can get into. That's going to pretty much finish the Word. Well, let's look at checking the document here real quick. You've seen this, but let's see what he says. I can't remember.
Before you publish or convert your document to another format, such as PDF, you need to run an accessibility check. This can be accessed by clicking on File in the ribbon. Then under Check for Issues, you'll find Check Accessibility. The accessibility checker in Microsoft Word runs in real time, so some people prefer to open up the accessibility checker and let it run while they're creating the document. Other people prefer to run the accessibility checker after they've finished creating the document. Clicking on any of the errors, warnings, or tips within the accessibility checker will take you directly to the location in the document that's in question. Common errors in the accessibility checker include repeated blank characters. This happens when you use the spacebar or the enter key to create vertical or horizontal spacing within the document. And as soon as you fix a problem like this, you'll see it goes away from the checker. Other errors that you'll often come across are missing alt text.
Okay. I think there's one more I want to show you. Just a second. Okay. This one's important too. So a lot of people will export their Word file to a PDF file format. And while that sounds like it's really easy to do, it should be really super convenient, it's very problematic. So he's going to provide you a couple of tips on things that you should be doing with respect to creating a PDF file. Now, there's two ways to create a PDF in Word. One of them is you can use the Adobe Acrobat export. One of them is Word has its own native format. So watch his video here real quick. I'll show you how to do it. He does a better job of it than I can.
After you've completed your document and you've satisfied any issues in the accessibility checker, you may want to convert it to another format, such as PDF. In this video, I want to show you a couple of different ways to do that. The first way would be to use Microsoft's built-in PDF converter. You're going to go up to File, Export, and Create PDF XPS document. Select the box. And in Options, you need to ensure that Document Structure Tags for Accessibility is checked, as well as Create Bookmarks using Headings. Once you've ensured that both of those boxes have been checked, click OK. You can go ahead and click Publish. And you've converted that document to a PDF. If you have Acrobat Pro installed, there's another way to convert to PDF. You would go up to the Acrobat tab in the ribbon, select Preferences, and make sure Create Bookmarks has been checked, as well as Enable Accessibility and Reflow with Tagged Adobe PDF. Make sure Enable Advanced Tagging has not been checked. Go ahead and click OK. Select Create PDF. Again, you can name your document and state where it's going to go. And now you've created a PDF that's ready for you to work on in Acrobat Pro.
Okay, questions? That's how you convert from Word to PDF. So there's a couple of very important checkboxes you have to make sure are enabled when you do that. Okay. That's Word. Now let's do a little PowerPoint, shall we? So pull up PowerPoint on your computers if you would, please. Now, interestingly, PowerPoint is not one of the most problematic applications that disabled people run into. They have much, much more difficulty with PDF. PDF is the worst file format. And we'll talk about PDFs more in just a minute. So if your faculty, when you look at the courses, if they have a lot of PDF files, usually you're going to have some work to do to convert those into a link. That's the most problematic file format. Why are PDFs so difficult? Well, the reason why is because most PDFs are an image. They're an image file. They're almost like a picture. And a screen reader can't read a picture. It has to be able to read text. So we'll show you in a minute how you can actually create what's called a tagged PDF. So you can convert it into a file format that works. But that aside, so PowerPoint usually is okay. Most disabled people will tell you that PowerPoint for the most part is kind of sort of okay. If there's a problem, it might be with color contrast. Remember that color contraster I had you download? We're going to use it in just a minute. So we're going to jump into his course and show you a couple of short videos, and then we'll do some things ourselves. Again, these are all real short. You should be able to do these in 30 minutes or less. So one of the things he recommends that you do is you set up what's called a master slide in PowerPoint. So you're going to create master slides. He's going to show you how to do it. Now, there's one of the videos is going to talk about in just a second. How many of you all use PowerPoint? Everybody use PowerPoint? Okay, so let me ask you this. When you are creating a PowerPoint deck, and you know how it comes up by default, it comes up with a placeholder that says title and subtitle. How many of you have ever highlighted the title, the little placeholder, or the subtitle, and hit delete? And then you go to the text box, and you added your own. Okay, completely inaccessible. You do that. You can't do that. The text box that you add is not accessible. The one that's there is, but the one that you add is not by default. So he's going to talk about it in just a second, okay?
Although master slides aren't necessarily an accessibility feature in PowerPoint, understanding how they work can prove invaluable if you need to create a lot of presentations with accessibility in mind. Master slides allow you to control the look, design, and details of the slides throughout your entire presentation without having to go through each individual slide and make those changes. If you've ever created a long presentation and then had to go through each individual slide to change the font, the size, the colors, maybe to add a graphic to every slide, you'll immediately see the value in using master slides when you create your presentations. Before we begin to edit the master slide, let's go ahead and change the theme for this current presentation that we're in. So let's say you've chosen a standard Microsoft PowerPoint theme here, and I'm going to run a color contrast check on this. And let's see. So what we get is a fail. The green font that's used in this particular theme isn't actually a high enough contrast for accessibility purposes. And we can also try the gray, and that also isn't dark enough, so there's not adequate color contrast in any of the text on this. So you could go through and you could try to modify this particular theme and maybe find a different color, like maybe the pink. You could try, but maybe you really like that green design. So what we can do here to get into our master slides is go ahead and click on View, then Slide Master, and this opens up our set of master slides. What you'll see in here is that there's actually a theme slide master that's at the top. This is the parent for all of the other slide masters that come below it. If you make changes to any of these children in this tree, you'll find that what you're doing is you're modifying just that one particular kind of slide. If you make any changes to the parent slide up here, those changes will take place all the way down through the rest of these slides. So let's go on up here, and we're going to go ahead and change this particular font to a darker color. Let's say we try this green here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to test that just to make sure we're good. It does pass for large text, but it'd be really nice to make sure we get a color that passes for all font sizes. So what we need to do here is obviously we need to highlight that. Let's go with a darker green still. And let's see how we do now. All right, so we get a pass at WCAG 2.0 AA standard. That's what we're going for. So this particular color that we use is good to go. What you should find is we work our way through that dark green kicks in. Sometimes it may not, and so we can go ahead and edit this particular one, and we'll change that to that dark green as well. All right, and then let's see if we come down to this slide. This is a picture slide that we're using, and in this particular case, you see that this is pretty small font size. So we're going to go ahead and change that as well to a larger font size. When I'm all done editing, I'm going to go ahead and close that master view. And now you'll see that in our particular presentation, all of those font colors have been changed to that darker font. You can see down here that our font has been made much larger and more readable.
So here's what I want you to do. I want you, in PowerPoint, I want you to bring up a theme. We're going to learn how to use the color check. So I don't care what theme it is, one of the PowerPoint themes, whatever cool looking one that you think, just brand new, blank PowerPoint, pick a theme. And I'll catch up with you. So here. So this is the one that he was using in the demonstration right here. You can use that one if there's others. I'll pick the one that he was using. Okay, so there's kind of what it looks like. It's the brand new PowerPoint with a design applied that I've selected. And there's tons of them. And your faculty are going to do all sorts of bizarre things with this. So you need to check to make sure that the color contrast is okay. So you're going to use the color contrast checker that you downloaded about an hour and a half ago. So here's mine, right here. This is what it looks like. It's the color contrast analyzer. It looks just like this. Okay. So you may have to kind of massage the windows so that you can kind of get them side by side, something like that. What you're going to do is there's the foreground color and there's the background color, and then there's a color picker, which looks like a little paintbrush tool. And you're going to come over and you're going to select the color. Now, look at what's happening on the screen. I picked the green just like he did with his. And look at down below, it says failed. So in other words, the contrast for this PowerPoint theme or design is not strong enough. Now, why does it have to be strong? Well, this is not for a blind person, but what's called a low vision person. Maybe as somebody has got retinitis, pigmentosa, or maybe they've got some sort of glaucoma, right? Something they can still kind of see, but not really well. They can't drive or things like that. So you need to make sure that the text kind of stands out enough in the background and has that contrast. So what this is measuring is the 1.43 contrast ratio. And this is the standard that we're looking for right here. It depends on the size of the text. But 1.4 for certain sizes of text is the standard for what's called WCAG AA standard, which is what we're looking for. This failed. So that's why you would go into the master slide and change that. So whatever PowerPoint you're working on, run the contrast checker and make sure that the text stands out enough from the background. And you're going to see all sorts of weird things because a lot of the faculty are more interested in the design than they are in the contrast. So they'll put pink text on a red background and it'll look horrible and they think it looks great. And the contrast will fail. So you're going to need to tell them about that. Now, the other thing I want you to know about too is in Canvas. A lot of the faculty will go through in Canvas and highlight words with blocks and they'll make them different colors. But remember that some students can't see those colors. So tell the faculty, don't do that. There's other ways that you can draw attention without using colors. Okay? So colors are not necessarily good. I see there's one faculty member in education. I won't say who it is, it's not important, but he does it all the time. In his Canvas course, he'll put green and yellow and red and blue and all these different colors. They mean different things. Just got a key code. And we tell him, you can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. But he's like, oh, it'll be all right. But no, it's not all right. It'll fail. While we're talking about, I'm going to change gears just a bit. I don't want this to escape me because I just thought about it. It's really important. Back in Canvas, our Canvas, not EduPaths. Let me get back there. Here, let me move that contrast checker out of the way. Okay, this is our Canvas. One of the things I want you to do, one of the first things you should do as students when you're helping your faculty out is run what's called the You Do It checker. So this is called the You Do It. On the sidebar of the Canvas course, this doesn't even do a PowerPoint, I'm changing gears, I just don't want to forget it. There's an option in a sidebar called You Do It. Now, students don't see You Do It. There's no option. If you go into your Canvas course, you will not see that option. You have to be a faculty member or a GA to see it. So if you're a GA, you'll see it, but you won't see it if you're a student. So just so you understand. So You Do It. Let's just run it and see how it goes. This is a course that we're working on right now in my area. It's not been published yet. So it's still being worked on, but let's just run a You Do It check and see how we do, shall we? So we'll do a You Do It. This tool was built at the University of Central Florida. So some programmers there built this tool. It's free for us as a campus. They don't charge us for it. And You Do It stands for Universal Design Online Content Inspection Tool. That's what You Do It stands for. So here we go. Let's come down. And here's what you can scan in the course to check to see if it's accessible. So you have announcements, assignments, files, pages, the syllabus, the URLs, or any of the combination above. Let's click on Scan. Now, this could take a minute, maybe a couple of minutes. We'll see how long it takes to come up with this. But it's going to come up with a report for you. Let's just see what it does. So it's checking the entire course. And this is a big course, got a lot of stuff in it. I'm going to let that run because this may take a minute, so we'll come back. You don't see it changing yet, so we're going to come back to that, so hold that. But what You Do It allows you to do is that after you get the report, you can go through and actually fix some of this content right inside Canvas using the You Do It tool. So you're going to want to check this. Every time we do a course check in my area. This is the tool that we run. See. And it's still going. I'm going to let it go. We'll come back. Okay, back to PowerPoint for just a minute. We'll come back to that. You do it. So this first lesson is on the master slides. You can read that yourself. I'm not going to go through all of those. This is an important little video. Watch this one. This is good. This talks about the reading order in PowerPoint. Now there's a twist because the reading, you'll see it, the reading order in PowerPoint is different than Word. It reads from the bottom up, not the top down. I'll show you.
I want to take some time to talk about content placeholders in a PowerPoint presentation. Content placeholders are the boxes that you see whenever you open up a new slide or create a new slide that tell you to add a title. You can insert a picture into them, things like that. Content placeholders can be resized. You can move them around without any problems. You can change the fonts in them. So you could go ahead and change the font in here if you wanted. You can do anything like this. Any of that kind of editing is okay, but what you can't do is delete a content placeholder and then add your own text box into a slide and expect that to be accessible to everybody. And this is what happens often is somebody might look at this and they go, oh, I don't really like that one. I'm going to delete that and I'm going to insert text box. And I'm going to make my own title box up here. And then what we'll do is we can change all of this kind of stuff. So the problem with doing something like that is, first of all, if you were sharing this presentation with an individual who's blind and is accessing the PowerPoint file using a screen reader, screen readers jump over the text boxes and things just like they would jump over text boxes and images that aren't in line with text in a Word document. They jump over that content in a PowerPoint slide. So you've basically made anything that you've inserted that way invisible. The other thing is that it can really mess with the tags in a PDF if you were to convert this to PDF. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like real quick. I'm going to save this file and then we're going to create a PDF. So if we look at the tags of a normal slide, you'll see that there's a heading 1 in there and then your paragraph text. So any title content placeholder will actually convert automatically to an H1 or a heading 1 tag. If we get down to our last one, what you'll see is that, first of all, our first tag is actually that list item that was in the original content placeholder. And then the next tag in there is the tag from the text box that we added. You'll see that this is a paragraph tag and not a heading 1 tag. And you'll also see we didn't fix the reading order in the PowerPoint presentation. And so what we did is we've also got this, not just the wrong heading tag, but it's also in the wrong reading order, and we would have to rearrange that in the PDF. So if we go back over into the PowerPoint, I want to show you a couple things. If we go into the slide master that we can do with content placeholders. So let's say you didn't like that title box. First of all, you can edit that just like we showed you in the other video on slide masters. You can edit the size, the font, any of those things, but you want to make sure that that master title style stays in there because that title is your H1 tag. The other thing that you'll see is if we go into the Home tab in the ribbon, click on Arrange, and open up the selection pane. This is all of the content that's on each slide, and you'll see that the reading order, so how it's going to come across in the tag tree in a PDF, and how it will be read in order if somebody's reading it using a screen reader in PowerPoint is from bottom to top. So the title would be read first, then this text placeholder, then this content placeholder, then this one, and so on. And so you'll see that that's really important that we make sure we've got all of those things in the right order. Let's say you wanted to add an extra content placeholder to a slide. So let's say we were looking at this particular slide and we said, it'd be really nice to have 3 columns instead of 2. Well, we can do that. We can move this one over, we can move this one over, and do we even want to adjust those a little bit? And then we're going to go ahead and in that slide master tab, we're going to insert a placeholder and we're going to insert a content one. So there's our new columns. So we've got 1, 2, 3 columns in here. But what you'll see now is our reading order is off, right? Because we've got our title, then we have the first placeholder, then the third placeholder, and then it goes down into the footers of that slide. So we want to make sure that that second placeholder gets moved and placed in the correct reading order. That's going to carry over into our tags if we convert to PDF, and it's going to translate into a correct reading order for anybody who's accessing it as a PowerPoint file as well.
Okay, one other thing before we take a break, one other thing about PowerPoint is really important. You notice there's a star, like a gold star on the bottom. So any images that you add to the master template, the master, in other words, if you're in the master view, and you add images like a star, like a GIF or whatever, those are not read by a screen reader. You with me? Any images on the master slide are not read by the screen reader. They're ignored. So just so you understand, so if you have something on the master you want to be read by a screen reader, better not be on the master. You can take it off and put it on the regular slide. Okay? So it's going to ignore that star. Okay. I think, let me see if that's on the PowerPoint I wanted to cover. Oh, so with respect to captions, this is important. This is kind of cool. There's a couple ways you can do captions in PowerPoint on that caption. One of them, and this video talks about it, is an add-in called Stamp, S-T-A-M-P. You can download it right there. You can add it into PowerPoint, and you get basically the ability to upload a transcript file. But I've got a better one. Let me show it to you. This comes in the newest versions of PowerPoint. This one may not have it because it may not be installed. So I'm going to show you a video of how this works. You can download this for free today. This is cool. So let me show it to you. Bear with me. Okay. So I want you to, I'll explain to you what you're seeing here in just a minute.
I'm Will Lewis. I'm a principal program manager with the Microsoft Translator team. And recently we had a group of students who were being hosted at the University of Washington, a group of Chinese students, in particular Chinese undergraduate students. And they were visiting the University of Washington for a few days. They brought them over here to MSR for a brief time to introduce them to the research that is being done at Microsoft Research. And so we actually had them come to a talk that I was giving on what we do on speech translation. So the Translator Live feature is the feature that allows you to create what we call a virtual room where people can have conversations in multiple languages. So one of the ways we host this is through PowerPoint, so using the presentation translator. So on the screen, as part of this add-in, it actually shows a QR code that people can use to join from their own devices. And so what happens is while I'm talking, They will see the transcripts on the screen if I choose to have them on the screen. And then they will also see the transcripts on their local devices in the language of choice. And so when I talk, you hear the Mandarin actually being spoken as I talk.
所以当我说话的时候，你会听到我说话的普通话。
I can speak while showing a PowerPoint deck, and it will show the transcripts on the screen, and at the same time, it will allow people to join from their own devices. So when Xiaodong asked his question, you see the transcript of what he's asking on the screen in English, not in Mandarin. The students were completely amazed by this feature where they saw the transcripts of me talking, they were showing up on the screen, then they were seeing them on their own devices, and then they were seeing them in Chinese script as I was talking. And then at one point I turned on the audio so they could hear the Mandarin being spoken as I was speaking English. So this feature is particularly important in the classroom because it allows teachers or lecturers or whatever to give a talk or give a discussion in the class in their native language. So for students who are non-native speakers who maybe are recent immigrants or maybe visiting here, maybe they're visiting scholars, for instance, they don't know the language well, they have access then to the content that's being discussed because they can see the transcripts in their own language.
Okay, so that may be for English as a second language, but you can also use it for disabled because they can actually see a transcript of what's happening in real time in any language that you want. It converts 60 different languages. I can convert English to Arabic, Arabic to English, Arabic to French, French to Italian, Italian to South Korean, whatever you want to do. You, the user and the audience, can pull up the QR code. You can just scan the QR code, and you can convert it to whatever language you want. Right? So let's say, for instance, I was converting it from English to French. So on the screen, it may be in French, but Hind wants it in Arabic. So on her device, she can pull it up in Arabic. And she can watch the translation in Arabic. Dongfeng may want it in Mandarin. So same presentation, same time, his is in Mandarin, hers is in Arabic. On the screen is French. You with me? It's free. You can download it right now. You can put it in PowerPoint today. It's called Microsoft Translate. It's an add-in. Now, the cool thing is it creates a transcript of everything that the professor's saying. So all of the things they're doing in class can be, you can have a transcript which goes along with the, that you can save. It goes along with the PowerPoint. Okay? Okay. Let's take 10 minutes. We have one more thing to cover today before I let you go, and that's Adobe Acrobat. It won't take very long. So we'll take 10 minutes, come back about 4:10, stretch, and we'll wrap up by 4:30. We'll just show you Adobe Acrobat, how you make Adobe Acrobat accessible. Okay? You guys learning anything? Okay.
第一个作业就直接把那个 Word 文档弄好，我好。我知道它里面有一些可以碰到键。他说我们要声妙的，不是大爆发。教。
Okay, let's wrap this up. Get you guys out of here. Hey, let's check my scan. See how we're doing. Remember my scan? See what's going on. Hey, it's all done. Okay. This was the You Do It scan for one course. Boy, have I got to talk to Tanzina. Okay, how many errors? 701 errors in one course. Oh, goodness, Tanzina. Okay, 93 insufficient text color contrast with the background. Now, sometimes that can be what's called a false positive or a false negative conversion. The color contrast thing with this checker can be a little bit, sometimes it throws an error and you look at it and go, what? It's black text on white, what are you talking about? So I wouldn't get too worried about that because that can be misleading. This, though, is important. 177 images do not have alt text. So I'll show you how to fix it in a second. 218 alt text is more than maximum allowed characters. So the alt text for some reason is there, but it's too long. 7 alt text for image elements used as source anchors should not be empty. So there's some kind of empty. We'll look at it and see. Links should not contain text. Okay, so links, I didn't talk about links, but this is really important. I'm glad I saw that because I almost forgot it. When you are creating hyperlinks, let's bring up this Word file. Okay, this is really common, and I want you to avoid this problem. When you want to send somebody to a website in a document, like this is a syllabus or whatever, this is what everybody does. They all do it. They all go https:// some site. I'm just making this up. /PDF. You ever see anything like that? Very common. You know where you see those a lot? Is library databases, because the library links are really long, right? Because that's just the way the library databases work. Okay, what's the problem when a screen reader sees this? It reads each character back to the user one at a time. This is what a screen reader would sound like if we have one ready. https://www.empora.info /EDU/EDFFRT/ and on and on and on and on and on. That's the way it works. Don't do that. So instead, what you want to do is before the link, you copy that link. Either before or after the link, put the link where it's going to. So you would say library database article, whatever it's going to. And you create a hyperlink to that. This is hard to do sideways, I gotta tell you, this is really hard. There's no hyperlink. In your symbol. Link. Are you with me? What's going on? Okay, now, the reason we're doing this is because the screen reader, these go to the same place. That goes to the same place as that. But the screen reader will say to the user, hyperlink. It announces it. It announces it to them. It says, this is a hyperlink coming up. Hyperlink, library database article. That's how it announces it to the blind person. It doesn't do this HTTPS. Now the reason you may want to keep this here in the article is because sometimes students want to print the document. They want to print it, so they want to be able to see the document where it's going. They want to see the full hyperlink. So able-bodied people, people who can see, say, that's not, if I print it, so think about this, if I was to print this, that means nothing. It's just an underlying word. You don't know where that's going, right? But if I print it, then I can see the full URL. That makes sense to a sighted person. So you're doing both. You're helping the disabled person with that. You're helping the able-bodied person with that. Make sense? Okay, real important. So back to my scan. Well, no table headers found. Tables have to have headers across the top. Table cells, when you're designing them, remember, table, picture table, columns, rows, gotta have headers. Gotta have something in front. You can't just have a table. The data, gotta have a header. So this column is this column is this column is this. Gotta have headers. Headings should contain text, so you have to have headers, and there should be text. So what you can do is you can look through all of the errors, module by module. So this is module 1. This has suggestions, no errors, but suggestions. Suggestions are just take it or leave it. Module 3, I'm trying to find some errors. Yeah, these are all still in the suggestions area. That's okay, we can do it this way. The errors must be further down. So when you open up the UDoIt scanner, it says image, 2 of them, in this module 1, 2 of them. Image elements should have an alt attribute. So this tells you exactly where they are. You can see it. You can click and it'll take you right to it in Canvas. Then you can say, you fix it. So you click, you fix it. Watch. You fix it. Now you can type the alt text in right here. I don't know what that image is. I'm just going to guess. I'll just type nonsense. This isn't what you would normally do, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Yeah, well, what you do is you do this. It would show you the, so it's, the source of it is the word done. So,
no, this is, we already fixed it because when you fix it, it says done. Now this is the problem.
Now this one, okay, so this one's kind of interesting. This is coming off of the template in Canvas. This is the module template, where there's a click to open option. And so what you would do for that, down below under you fix it, is you would say, the alt text would say what? Click to open.
Yes,
So
that's what I did.
click image, click to open. Something like that. Okay, got it? That works. So you can do you fix it on everything in here. So you just go module by module, view the source of this problem. That's another.
Do we need to pay attention for the suggestion? I don't think so. Right?
For what?
For the suggestion. Because this is just a suggestion.
This is a decorative image. So
Oh,
you could ignore this because it's decorative. Or you can type in the word decorative. So that works too. And on, I won't take time, but you can see how it works. This is called You Do It. So scan the course if you do it, and then you can go through and use You Fix It. Now, this does not check captions. Remember way back at 1 o'clock we were doing captions? This doesn't check captions. With the exception of YouTube. It will check to see if YouTube videos have captions, but it doesn't check to see if Kaltura does. But if it doesn't find, if there's a YouTube video in the course, there's no captions, this will tell you, but usually YouTube will caption for you on that. Okay, so run up. A You Do It scan. When you work with faculty, when you leave here today, the first thing you should do is run a You Do It scan right off the bat. Okay, that's what you should be doing. Check it, and you can fix most of your problems right now. Because these are problems inside Canvas. These are not Word files. These are not PowerPoint files. These are not Acrobat files. These are problems inside Canvas. What they've done, what the faculty have done in Canvas. Okay. All right. Questions. One final module. I know it's hot. It's late. Let's show you a little bit about Acrobat. He does a nice job on this. And then you can watch these more on your own. Let's take you through a couple of videos. And we'll wrap you up here pretty quick. So this is the worst file format for accessibility is Acrobat. So you've got to be really careful when making Acrobat files. And everybody uses it. Everybody uses PDFs. And most often it's never accessible. So if a blind person is in the course, man, they will hammer you if you have a PDF file that's inaccessible. So let's show you a couple short videos on how to fix it.
There are a couple of things that need to be done in the documents properties when creating an accessible PDF. To get to those, go up to File, choose Properties. In here, you need to make sure under the Description tab that the document contains an adequate and clear title. After you've added that title, go to the Initial View tab and make sure under Show, instead of File Name, it shows Document Title. Click OK, and what you see is that the title bar changes from the file name to the document title, making it much easier for somebody who's accessing this document to know which document they're in. This is also what would be read by a screen reader when somebody switches to this window. One other helpful thing in document properties can be the navigation tab. If you've created a longer document that has a lot of headings that have been turned into bookmarks, it may be helpful to change this from page only to bookmarks panel and page. What this would do is ensure that anytime the document is open for the first time, the bookmarks panel would also be visible, allowing the user to navigate quickly to any section of that document.
Okay. Moving along, let's see what's got. And by the way, again, all of this later, you can download all of the practice files, and you can try everything he's doing. You can do it all yourself. He's got all the practice files, they're all there. Just download them and start using them. You do have to have Adobe Acrobat Pro to be able to make a document accessible, just so you understand. Can't do it in Reader.
The tag tree is probably one of the most important tools for you to understand when working with accessible PDFs. If you don't see tags in the navigation pane on the left side of the screen, simply right-click on the navigation pane and select Tags. The tag tree determines the reading order of the entire document for a screen reader. So if you select one of the tags and then use the arrow key to go up and down, you can see the reading order and how that screen reader is going to read the document. You may have to occasionally move tags around to change the reading order of the document while still maintaining the visual appearance that you want. We have information at the bottom of the first page that's really there for a visual purpose, but should be read at the end of the document and not in the middle of all of the text. To move this to the end of the document, just grab the tags. So in this case, we'll grab the figure tag and move that down to the end of the document. And we can also grab the paragraph tag, so we make sure that that text is highlighted, and we'll bring that down as well. What you can see now is as we read through this document, this is how the screen reader would read the order of the document.
Okay, this is what, when you hear tagged PDF, this is what they're talking about.
Like this one between the two heading tags.
Oops.
There may be some other things that you need to do within the tag tree to make an accessible PDF. If you're working with a document that's missing tags, you can add those using this tool. To do that, go up to the Options dropdown, select New Tag, choose what type of tag this would be, click OK. Once you have that tag in the correct location, select the content that you want associated with that tag. Right-click on top of the tag and choose Create Tag from Selection. You can see that the text has then been added to this heading 1. Other times that you might need to use the tag tree would be to artifact an image. This would be if you have an image that's in a document for decorative purposes and doesn't actually need to be read by a screen reader. In this case, we'll artifact this portrait of Walt Whitman. I'm going to expand the tag, right-click on the tag content, choose Change Tag to Artifact, leave it at the default settings, select OK, and then make sure I delete the empty tag from the tag tree. As you can see in this case, the screen reader will move from the heading down to the next heading and skip the image altogether. If you really wanted to clean up the tag tree, you could also go through and artifact all of the empty paragraph tags, like this one between the two heading tags.
So let me show you how to check in an Adobe Acrobat file. Oh, before I do that, back to PowerPoint for just 2 seconds. I forgot to show you how to check accessibility check PowerPoint. Same way. File, check for issues, check accessibility. It's the same thing as in the Word. And it'll actually give you all of the errors and things like that over on the side, just like the Word. So you can do the same process. Okay. Do we have Adobe Acrobat on this machine? Question. We do. Okay. Bear with me. I need to pull up an Acrobat file real quick. Give me just a second. Back to my sample syllabus. I think it's a PDF. We can get this to save. Okay, back to Acrobat. You're licensed to use the software on 2 computers. Uh-oh, we may not be able to show you Adobe Acrobat. You see, we'll try it. See. No, we can't. Set it on a computer, so I can send it here. Did you know that this is a problem? It's on multiple computers. Okay, well, we may not be able to show you Adobe Acrobat here. Just yeah, you can use that. Limit reached. Doesn't look like it's gonna work. Yeah. I don't know what that's about, but look, who's this? Is that you? I don't know who that is. We'll try that some. That's okay. We'll get that. That's all right. So we can't bring up Adobe Acrobat, unfortunately, and we're just about at time. So what you want to do when you check an Adobe Acrobat document is there is an option under the File menu, check for accessibility. So you just want to make sure that you run that checker. It's either there or, let me back that up just a minute. Get my products confused. Actually, the accessibility checker is a tool in Acrobat that comes up over on the right-hand side, not the left. So you want to, there's a little, it looks like a little man, little icon of a man. You want to run that checker, that accessibility checker in Acrobat. But you have to have the pro version. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's one of the tools, and you can check your document for accessibility. It will allow you to fix issues in Acrobat Pro. Okay, so the recap, that's okay, don't worry about it. The recap, real quick, let's just run through what we talked about. There are three, actually four, but three ways to caption. What were they? Zoom? Opto? Kaltura. Okay, and the fourth one is YouTube. Okay, so those are called automatic captioning. Right? So, and there's different ways to do the captioning, so make sure you remember that. You do it is where? It's in Canvas, right? It's an option. So just go ahead and run the You Do It tool, and you can do the You Fix It. You don't do that. Okay. Word, PowerPoint. Remember, you do the accessibility check from the file. Remember, you get the options on the side, which you go through and fix things. Remember, you created a template, and you modify your style sheets. In PowerPoint, remember, you want to do all your modifications in the master view. Check contrast using what tool did you download? Color Contrast Analyzer. So make sure you have that handy. You can always check your color contrast to make sure that it's working okay. You remember all of this is located in EduPaths. So you can log into EduPaths, you can go through these courses at your leisure. I strongly recommend you do that. That's your homework assignment, to start going through those courses. And you could get through them all in the next day or so. Easy. You'll learn a ton. Unfortunately, Acrobat, we weren't able to show you too much. You got a little bit of a taste of that. So start checking the documents. Word, PowerPoint, Acrobats are the big ones. Those are going to be the ones that your faculty are using the most. Okay? Did you learn anything? Okay. I'm done with you. This place is too hot. Let's get out of here. Thank you. By the way, remember all those handouts are on that Google site. Just write it down. Any other handouts I create, I'll just upload to that directory, so they'll all be there. You can download them. All that transcript stuff, those captions, all there. Thanks for your help.